This week on the show, we have voice actor and creator of Metal Gear Rising Abridged, funnywes. And if you're enjoying the show and want to help support it, make sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/KojimaFreak. Episode 69. Nice.
Oh, he said it! He said it! Nice!
Hey, I'm Fingers.
Yo, it's Apache Smash.
Hey everyone, this is Days Ahead.
And I'm Nitroid. You're listening to the Kojima Frequency.
Yo, it's so weird hearing your voice in like a neutral context. Like you're supposed to be angry. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're good. You are good. I'm happy to be here. Whatever works, because my setup is kind of doo-doo.
You know, like, I gotta say, some people are like, oh, if I had this equipment, I could do this and that and this. Like, that's one thing I gotta give you a ton of props on. It's just like you're editing and doing a lot of this stuff, like, just on a fucking phone. And it's like, people, step your game up. Like,
Yeah, when you tweeted about all of your content being lost on your phone, I was like, oh shit.
My god.
First, I was like, that must be devastating. And then the second, I was like, damn, she does that all from her phone? And it's like janky? What?
I don't do it all from my phone. I basically source everything through my phone and my Chromebook.
Gotcha.
And I do a bulk of it on the iPad. But like,
Crazy.
all of my footage on my phone was lost, so I had to redo. I'm gonna have to redo everything for part 2, which is pretty demoralizing, but it's like,
You might get some better takes out of it. Who knows?
yeah, maybe, yeah.
But yeah, we were looking. It's funny you mentioned part 2 because we were looking through your repertoire on YouTube, and I was like,
God.
yeah, there's this Metal Gear Bridge, and it's pretty funny. And like, I didn't realize that it had just come out like a week or so ago, and so like it was brand new content for all of us to dig into, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I know it's bad news, but hearing you say I was working on part 2 did spark a little excitement in my heart.
Yeah, I wanted to originally I was gonna have it be all like one big thing like this, just because that's just how all the stuff like abridged and whatever works. It's like 11 to 20 minute episodes.
Mhm.
And I tried doing that for the first time after only making like minute long videos for like a year and a half, and it fucked me up. So I was like, all right, I like basically diced the stuff I had already made into 3s
Mm.
and was like, okay, we're gonna like Telltale Games this shit and like go episode by episode kind of. And then when it's all done, like make like a big like
Full version.
I guess not like a compilation, just like the complete edition, I suppose.
The definitive version, as they
Yeah.
say at MGS5.
Mm-hmm.
So was that like definitely like just inspiration from like DBZ Abridged, where you're just kind of...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Here, I have to let my elderly cat in real quick.
Aww.
I'm keeping it in.
I'm bringing you guys with me.
I'm still salty about DBZ Abridged ending, but I get why they had to do it.
Want to come with me? Not recording? Are you mad at me that I'm recording? That's fine.
Today on the Kojima Frequency, we have a cat.
Yeah.
Look, I'm all about the guests talking about their cats, okay?
Yeah. No, I'm leaving all this in.
With DBZA, I'm still fair. I'm in like a limbo space where like it's odd to call myself young. Still, I like just turned 22. Like I grew up with DBZA. Like I vividly remember watching it when I was like, I think the first episode came out in 2008. So I was like 8 or 9 or 10 or something like that. And it ended around the time I graduated high school.
Oh my god. You're a baby, by the way. You're not. You're not.
God, I feel so old right now.
I was bummed out that it was over, but like, I don't know. I feel like it was one of those things that like, I'm trying to think of an example of a series that probably won't get a follow-up. like a series that's beloved by all. That
Metal Gear.
Silent Hill.
yeah, that maybe. Yeah, that too. You know, it's bittersweet, I suppose. I
It
don't.
ended well.
Oh yeah, it ended very well. Those last few episodes were, man.
Cell singing "I Did It My Way." I mean, come on.
Oh my god! At the end, so I had Abridged slotted out already. Like I have like a script for the first episode and everything like that, and I've added some stuff basically, but like you know, like for the most part, like everything I put down is like going in that thing. And one thing I wanted to do from the beginning that that luckily I was able to get help with was I wanted to end it on a song because the way that I saw it was that if this is like a test pilot, I figured that if people didn't like it, I could just be like, oh well, you know, this is like a one and done deal, who cares? So I recorded a song, like a real life song, sung in character, and it was almost my way because I just love that sequence so much from BBZA.
What an homage! That oh man.
The first line in the first part, or not one of them, one of the last lines in the first part is just straight up the first line that they say in DBZA. The quote unquote carrot farmer says like, it's something along the lines of "time to do what any middle class American would do, get my gun."
Yes.
And I said, "Time to do
yes.
what any
the farmer. Time to do what
Yeah.
any middle class farmer would do. Get my gun.
Get my gun." And I did like, I'll try to do it as quietly as possible, but whenever I try to do it quietly, it sounds like shit. It's like, "Time to do what any middle class cyborg American would do. Get my yeah." It sounds awful. It sounds awful whenever I try to be quiet. I'm sorry, that was a whole tangent.
It's funny that you mentioned sort of it's hard to recreate, or maybe I'm not getting this right. You're saying it's hard to sort of do the voice like without like a specific context or without a specific like setup.
Oh, dude, it is just like it's just loud. It's just really loud.
Yeah, it's something you
And
like have to crank out or nothing. Yeah.
with the voice, it's like I don't really do it unless I know for a fact I will be home alone for a while. Just because like it's not like demanding, it's not hard to do. I can and have done it for like hours at a time for certain projects, but like it's just so loud.
We got to think about the levels for this recording.
Mhm.
So is it more just like you took like the Jack the Ripper voice and just kind of like turned it to 11?
I was thinking about it last night. The voice is like literally, because I've been able to do this for a while. The Raiden voice is just Snake, but like more hyperactive. I can't do a good Raiden right now because it's so loud, but like last night I was going like fucking Snake Line. I don't know. Oh, a hind D. And you just do that and then it's like, oh, a hind D. It's like really like it's the same like
Like a more
gravel.
nasally Solid Snake.
Yeah. I've had people kind of describe it as like a star scream kind of thing. I kind of compare it to like there's just it's a lot of everything. I like Team 4-star Vegeta. Fucking I was talking to my friend Quills, shout out to Voice Quills on YouTube and Twitter. And she was just she like had like a tweet one time that was like, "Oh, how do you describe voices you do?" And I kind of describe Raiden as like a chainsaw almost because I have to like go like I have to like rev it up like I'm like it's like a motorcycle and I can't do anything with him unless I do that like first, and it's really fun.
You gotta rev it up.
Yeah.
Gotta let her rip.
Was it your like inspiration like to be loud and bolsters? Like how did it start? Because I know that in the notes I put in like northeastern drawl, and I don't know how to better describe it. Like it like maybe it's because I've been watching the Sopranos, but Raiden like sort of sounds like like he's from like New Jersey in a way. And that's not by any means like a criticism at all. Like, in fact, I really appreciate it. I wasn't sure if that was intentional or not.
It was not at all intentional. And what's even, I've never even been anywhere near the Northeast nor the East. So that does he sound Northeastern?
I don't know how to describe it. Like, he sounds like he would pronounce Capricola Gabagool.
Gabagool. It's like,
Is that going to end up in a video now?
I mean, I could like fairly easily put in a line that's like, are you fucking from New York or like whatever the fuck? I mean, that wouldn't be too hard to do.
Oh my god.
I have gotten a few comments like that.
No, actually, Liberia.
That would actually work. Just like a, are you from Jersey? No, I'm from Liberia.
Like, what the fuck?
So, originally, I'm fully capable of doing like how he sounds in 4, like the very moody, like the you know, like it's just a switch basically.
Yeah.
And I did it a little bit in the video I made for April 30th, but the way I describe it and kind of the explanation that I give people for why he sounds like that is that going back to DBZA, you know, like Laney Pator, how he does Vegeta. Vegeta doesn't really sound, he sounds like that, but he's not, you know, he doesn't have like that like cadence, I guess. He doesn't really he's not as uppity as he is in the show, or he doesn't yell as much in
yeah, it's like a caricature.
Yeah, so it's like that. But the explanation that I give people is that because my stuff is mainly centered around comedy and like you know, he just acts differently in my videos than he does in like the canon, I guess. It's weird to have like a fan canon, I suppose. I don't know if they're fanon, whatever.
You managed to make Metal Gear characters more self-aware.
Yeah, essentially. I tell people that because the ridiculousness is cranked up, he's always in like a half state of Ripper mode, where he's still like, you know, his normal, I hate to say it, but pathetic self, but with like more energy to it, because I don't really, it's just fun.
Yeah.
The problem with this is the same problem I have with DBZ Abridged, which is that when I watch so much of this kind of stuff, and then I go back to the original material now sounds wrong to me.
Yeah.
And Raiden is approaching that point.
I'm so sorry.
That was, you have nothing to be sorry about, first of all. But it's funny you say that, Nitro, because I was thinking the same thing, and that was going to be my next question. Like, how does it feel to sort of have that effect on folks?
It is I want to say it's a blessing and a curse. Definitely more of a blessing, I would say. Because ultimately I still do feel like a fan more than anything. Because, you know, oh my goodness, what's that thing called? You remember those Hi Am Daisy comic dubs and stuff like that?
Yes.
I ate those up
great.
when I was like in middle school and stuff like that. And I guess the earliest instance of me, oh my goodness, it's from the Portable Ops one. And they like make Gene, who is this otherwise just like, you know, like, fuck you, Snake, whatever, like basic guy. And they turn him into this like dandy man almost. Like they give him like a high, like a Team Rocket thing.
Yeah.
And I could not tell you what Gene in canon sounds like, but I could fucking Hi Am Daisy Gene is just there.
Isn't Gene voiced by Steve Bloom?
Is he?
Yeah, I think so.
That's like my
I think you're
favorite
right.
guy ever. that shows you just how the goofiest shit can just, I guess, invert your memory. Because I'm sure his performance was incredible, but I'm just so used to the fucking Team Rocket gene, I guess I can call him, that I have no memory of how he actually sounded. And I've gotten comments that are like, there was someone who would watch my stuff and they would be like, oh, well, this is funny, but like, he can't possibly sound like this. And then they'll be like, okay, well, update, I played the game. A little bit, yeah. And I don't hear it personally, but I don't know. I've had a few people tell me that like just that, and I honestly, it's why I'm stuttering so much right now. I genuinely can't believe that because I've been around Metal Gear like for more than half my life. So the idea of like this goofy stuff I'm doing overtaking someone's memories of the actual source material is like the coolest thing ever, and it makes me a little sad because I love this stuff.
Aw.
I think your stuff definitely like brings people to the games, though. You know, like it's kind of just like you're bringing in like a huge audience. You know, your YouTube channel just hit 100K. I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
It is. I still can't believe it. It's hard to put that into numbers.
Was it mainly after like the Boo Womp saga? Was that kind of when things really picked up?
Oh,
or-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the official title for it?
I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, the boo womp sound from like SpongeBob. It goes like boo womp. Is that like an acronym or like... It plays when they're sad. Boo womp. I just don't know how that's gonna help right now.
Do it!
Because I put out like I've been making Metal Gear videos for about, I want to say 3 years now, and it was mainly just stuff I would send to my friends over Discord and stuff like that.
That's always how it starts, yo. Shit
Yeah.
post
That's how my buddy
between your
JJ.
friends.
Yeah, my friend JJ, solid JJ. He would just send his friends stuff. Oh, I think over Instagram probably, which is like haunting because he just does what I do, but way better and with more stuff.
Well, let me ask you this. With the popularity of the channel and the resurgence of Rising memes, just how much of this exactly is your fault?
I don't know. I don't think a lot of it is. I will be 100% honest with you.
I don't know.
No, this is not me like humble bragging. I'm being 100% serious.
I'm gonna bring out one of my dumbass analogies here. So, like, Metal Gear Rising memes are sort of, I like to compare them to like calamities in Final Fantasy 14, and that they happen in waves throughout human history, and those waves tend to be like parallel with some sort of like calamity or like natural disaster or something like that. Not to say that your channel is a natural disaster. That's not my point. My point is. The point is that it's a pattern, right? And that pattern needs a catalyst, and you may have been like one of the catalysts for this peak, I guess you want to call it.
Maybe for a little bit, but I don't think I'm at least solely responsible for how mondo huge it's gotten. That mainly goes to Maxor, who put out that really, really just buck wild video on Metal Gear Rising. Jimothy Ross did as well. I was actually in that one for a little bit. People sharing just all those gifs of the text of like Sam just saying all these wretched things about sulfuric acid and what have you.
That's another thing too, is like the meme format of like an image or a text quote, like average, I don't know, like average Metal Gear fan explaining lore, and then you have like the guy with the whiteboard Like that sort of
Yeah.
meme format where it's like the text followed by like this ridiculous speed up of a video. I think some of the scenes and visuals with Metal Gear Rising also work very well with that format.
Oh yeah.
Sam clapping around the explosions, or Raiden doing like 1,000 fist punches on Armstrong's chest.
Oh, that too. That one too.
I'm a big fan of the can you back that up with a source?
Yeah.
God, I've seen it everywhere. I have lamented this on the show, I think, twice already, but despite the fact that I am, kind of into Metal Gear, my kids were exposed to Rising not through me, but through sort of the osmosis of the memes working their way through like kids in their school, and like I've caught my kids seeing Rising memes on YouTube, and I'm like, what? And it's just baffling to me. I have made very lighthearted attempts to get my kids into Metal Gear. They have failed miserably, but somehow this worked. I have no explanation for it.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm holding you personally responsible. You need to come here and fix it.
That's fine. I'll make some videos about. I made a couple about 2. People don't like them as much, but I adore them. One thing I'm genuinely honored about, like no hyperbole or whatever, is it makes me so happy to get comments that are like, oh, well, it makes me glad to see, oh, I got Metal Gear Rising because of your video. It's like, oh, that's cool. And then I am like brought to my knees, like, I got into Metal Gear Solid because of your videos. And it's like, oh my God. It's like,
well, I mean, someone's got to do it, because sure as shit Konami's not. So thank you for doing the Lord's work.
I make all of my stuff with the idea that the viewer has, if not played all the games, then like at least knows what is going on in the plot, like overall. So, one, the fact that people enjoy them without that knowledge is wild.
I mean, you do like other voices too for like, different Metal games. It's not all just Raiden and stuff. I mean, one of my favorites is the Twin Snakes ending, but Otacon is more audible.
Snake.
Shut up! Fuck!
Whether you've been programmed or not isn't important.
Oh, damn it!
Just that juxtaposition between Naomi talking all serious about, genetics and shit and fate, and Otacon just screaming in the background.
I love doing stuff for Otacon the most. Like, I'm kind of here or there about Snake. I love doing stuff for Raiden, obviously, but Otacon is so fun. I wish I could incorporate him into more stuff.
Maybe you could take, not to step on your toes or anything, but maybe you could allude to Sonny's update about him in Rising about being like a ladies' man.
I've considered that. I just don't know how to like go about getting footage for it. There is a gold mine of stuff to make for Metal Gear Solid 4. Like, countless times on the quote-unquote writer's board, which is just my notes app. I've wanted to play with the idea of like...
Board, which is my notes app.
Yeah, basically. I've wanted to play with the idea of like, is it chapter... It's Act 2 or 3 in MGS4, where there's a point where it's Snake, Otacon, Sonny, and Raiden in the Nomad, and they're all bummed out as fuck. And that is like, I've said it time and time again, that is like the closest thing that Metal Gear has to like a sitcom like setting, basically.
Oh, I got a good idea. You should do You Have Uno Part 2 with those characters. Include Otacon and just there you go.
Start the scene with like that typical like sitcom music, like Metal Gear Solid Form was filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Just cut in right on Otacon, just screaming, "You have
And
Uno!"
everybody,
You have Uno, you fucking dick.
Sonny walks in, everybody applauds.
As they should. She's the fucking star. She should be the fucking star.
Snake makes a comment about her eggs, and the audience goes, "Ooh!"
Yeah. Yeah. That's always fun to do. Just, yeah.
I will say that it is interesting seeing your perspective as a 22-year-old. You know, you mentioned Metal Gear has been with you for more than half your life, and I was doing the math in my head, and it's, if I'm doing this right, you were born after MGS1. So that
I was, yeah.
being in that position, just like, I mean, you know, we're all getting old, so I'm accepting that. But I'm just interested from that perspective, and how your generation sort of handles Metal Gear. Because I feel like your video is sort of a good example, or a canary in the coal mine on that base of the fandom.
I think so. I often worry that I am not the best person to be getting people into Metal Gear, just because of like, I don't know. I guess just like how people in my age range handle Metal Gear, or just like view it, I suppose.
It's hard to get people into Metal Gear now. I like I said, my kids just. I mean, maybe I'm. You know, I can't speak generally. You know, because I've only got my point of view. But you know, kids generally are not into Metal Gear. And I mean, that isn't really a kid's series for the most part. You know, back in the day when that came out, video games were kind of, you got what you got, you know? But now there's so much more of a wider catalog for kids to sort of get into, that something that's more, you know, sardonic and self-aware and almost grindhousey as Rising is almost an easier entry point for a lot of kids to get into this series.
I think it's just the people that, I guess in this case, the kids. I think it's just the kids that look for it. In my case, I just kind of stumbled upon it. I don't think Brawl definitely like taught me about the existence of Snake, but I was just like, oh well, cool. This is like a guy from like a war game. That's kind of cool. This guy's fighting Mario. That's awesome.
See, that shit like that, like our generation, that happened to our generation, but replace Snake with Fire Emblem characters and Brawl with Melee.
Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. Because I've never even picked up a Fire Emblem game, let alone purchased or played one.
I remember seeing them on like ROM sites back in the day, and like I would try to play it, and it was just Japanese. I was like, oh shit. So like what Metal Gear game was your first one? Like your first official like actual one that you played?
The first one that I got my hands on and like played was 3. The hometown that I grew up in, we lived across the street from a civic center, and we had like, it feels weird that they're even older now, but we had what I called at the time like old consoles and stuff like that, like N64 and PlayStation 1 and stuff like that. And I had a Wii. I didn't really get physically into Metal Gear until my teens, because we had a PS2, and sadly, I didn't touch the thing until I was like a teenager. And I never realized what a gold mine I had on my hands. But in the Civic Center, there was these kids that would play Metal Gear, and it was MGS1. And I was just like, oh wow, this is like, you don't really like fight people in this game. You just kind of like run around like at the time, I was a very blunt kid. Oh, you just kind of hide around like a coward. That's kind of interesting. And from there, I would like look up videos and like see clips online and stuff like that, not really knowing like the context for the stuff that would go on. And I finally got my hands on the 3DS version of Snake Eater. I think day one. I think I got it like the day it came out, and it changed like everything.
Did you just do like a deep dive after that game, or?
Basically, yeah. because
Yeah.
I did that, and then I played 1 and 2. I played it in such a weird order. I played 3. I played 1 and 2. I played Rising sometime down the line, and remembering playing Rising for the first time, like having a vivid memory, and doing what I do now is so weird. I played Rising, and then 4, and then from then on, I was a fan before 5 came out, which was wild to witness as a kid. But yeah, that's all of them. That should be all of them, right? Oh, Peace Walker, that was in there somewhere. I can't remember.
And Portable Ops, and then yeah, you're all good.
I mean, is it so wrong to forget about Portable Ops?
Nah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Well, I mean,
It's
do we want to?
fine.
Do we want to? Is it going to be that episode where
No,
we really?
no.
You know, we
go
got
deep
Team
on
Rocket
Portable
Gene,
Ops?
so
It's fine. Peace Walker's
bittersweet.
fine. And Portable Ops is fine.
Can I make one comment about Portable Ops?
Sure, that's fine. It's not my show.
Gene was miscast. They should have got like David Warner or someone like that. Like at least give him a British accent. If you're gonna have somebody whose power is essentially that they've got the most charismatic voice possible, you don't cast Steve Bloom.
I get that.
He charmed the hell out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, like oh, it's Spike Spiegel.
Because Steve Bloom is just cool.
He
Yeah.
is, but like I've heard his voice in so many places that I can't be impressed by it.
yeah,
get
I
that.
would get a drink with Steve Bloom. Would not go into hell for him. Like that's the
Mm.
distinction.
I get that.
While y'all were talking about, sort of the generational disconnect between Metal Gear, both I'm assuming in terms of both story and in gameplay, just kind of seeing like the feedback of the Undetected demo, sort of the back and forth between how the game came out versus sort of the expectations from the Metal Gear fandom. I felt like that was kind of, in a way, an example of that disconnect, and that I'm trying to say this without making it sound like any sort of criticism against the developers, because they can make whatever game they want to make, but it was just the observation itself. It's just food for thought, I guess. And then they came out with a patch that was like a mode that made things like, they explicitly said a mode that made things like explicitly more Metal Gear. Like this is for folks who are looking for more of a Metal Gear type gameplay.
Yeah, and it's weird because like it I guess Metal Gear can be played so many different ways, that there's, they're trying to, I guess, say like, for me, that game is like always looked like an arcade version of Metal Gear, where it's like, okay, this isn't going to be like as in depth or anything. And like most of these routes are probably going to be pretty obvious to like, run through really quickly if you know what you're doing. But that's not necessarily like what Metal Gear Solid is. So yeah, I see like the discrepancy with like the marketing versus the product, when it's not necessarily Metal Gear Solid, but it's like Metal Gear Solid-esque. I don't know. It's like a light version of it.
So you're saying it's less of like a generational perception and more of like marketing being marketing.
Well, I think like a lot of games when they're being marketed, you go like it's a mix of like Hotline Miami and Dark
Yeah.
Souls, like, and it's like, okay, I know what I'm about to play. So it's like for people that like Metal Gear, or this top-down stealth type. For me, there's not too many other games that I can think of like to compare to that type of gameplay. So like I can see why they chose that, but it might be setting expectations a little too high. So you got, like when you throw out a big game like that, people are going to be like, huh, all right. So, but yeah, and that's like when you come in with a game like Rising too, like especially starting on that, you're like, oh, okay, cool. This is an action series. And then you go into the rest of the games, you're like, oh shit, wait, I don't have a sword. Like what's going on here?
Yeah. That drop off really bums me out, because as happy, I tell myself that overall, if anyone played even one of these games, then cool. Like mission complete, basically. But I will not lie, it bums me out to see people just pick up Rising or 5. 5 is another one that I've seen a lot of people just like play. They're like, oh, cool, this
Yeah.
is fun. And then they play the other ones, it's like, oh, I can't run around in this one.
Yeah, it's definitely like the most fluid, modernized take on the whole thing, which like for me, I appreciated the evolution that it got there, but
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
like the rest of the games were definitely very distinct in their control styles and all played like in a really cool way where like
Well,
I enjoyed all of them as, going through them.
this is sort of the crux of an argument that we have fairly regularly, or not an argument, but a sort of a dialectic with these older games, and how much they differ from what I guess you could call modern games, especially MGSV and Rising.
Mhm.
Is it? I mean, that's often held up as a sort of an argument for why some of the older titles should get remade to make them more approachable for modern audiences. But that kind of like hits me in the same way as someone telling me they don't want to watch classic films because they're in black and white, you
Mhm.
know? And so, like, is that a flaw with the media or a flaw with the person who refuses to give it a shot because it doesn't, sort of fit within contemporary standards? And I tend to lean towards the latter personally.
Yeah, it's like not playing a game with tank controls or something. It's just like, oh, it has tank
Yeah.
controls. I'm
Mhm.
out. And it's just like, dude, we played a whole generation of tank control games. Like,
Like I grew up listening, so like maybe I'm kind of unique in this, but I hate to put it like that because it sounds so pretentious, but like my mom had an 8-track player and a bunch of old episodes of The Shadow, which was like this detective serial, and I grew up listening to those, and I thought they were the coolest thing ever. These like noir mysteries, and so I'm used to sort of I've been exposed to media from a very early age that wasn't as convenient to digest. So when I go back and I try something older that wasn't, it didn't fit the generation I grew up in, it doesn't really jar me as much. But like if I try to show my kids an old movie, they're like, "Oh!" And it's so frustrating.
I'm very iffy on the idea of, well, I am pro 100% porting Metal Gear to any modern consoles because
Yes.
as much as I want people to get into Metal Gear, it's hard, especially now, because at the minimum, you need a PS3 to play all of them, at least a
Yep.
bulk of them. So I would love to just be able to boot up my shitty day one PS4 and just play whatever Metal Gear game I want, but I can't because companies.
Yeah.
Remaking, I'm very, very, very iffy on because I don't want to even touch 1 and 2 with a remake poll. It's so,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I get it. And it's like, 1 and 2 are very much, they have so many idiosyncrasies for the time they were made in.
Mhm.
I'm gonna kind of buck my own opinion here a bit, but I feel like 3, out of all of the games, 3 could probably survive a remake better than any of the others.
Yeah.
Because it's,
Yeah.
it's not really like, I think I've said this before, but it's not so much, of a time as it is about a time. So I feel like it's more open to sort of remixing. But the other 2 are so defined by the time that they were made and the feel that they gave that
Mhm.
I just can't see them being remade. And plus, I mean, how many remakes have you seen that actually came out well? Like I can count them on one hand. And with as many people as been complaining about Konami lately, the same people who have been complaining about Konami are the same ones who wish Konami would remake these games. And I'm like, are you not, like, you can't hold these two ideas in your head at the same time in relation to one another? Like, do you not see the problem here? That's my opinion.
I'm pretty much on the same level as you. My thing is, I think a remake of 3 would be cool, just because, like you said, it's like so like out there that like
Yeah.
if they made it too goofy, then still works because it's goofy. If they made it too serious, it's fine because there's serious elements into it. It's you can make a bunch of foliage graphics. Like yeah, people would eat that up. It's awesome, fine.
Yeah.
I don't even want to touch 2 with a remake gun because I think it's perfect.
I would riot. I would riot so quickly if they remade 2. Like that is my sacred cow.
Yeah.
I mean, what about like a The Last of Us level, like like basically what they're doing with that, where they're like, okay, same pretty much style, same pretty much color palette, but just like what we're working with these days.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that. Wouldn't be overjoyed. Wouldn't be sad. I'd just be, yeah, sure.
I'd be whelmed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd play it.
I feel like a Kojima tweet played Metal Gear Solid 2 remake.
It's like a gas station sandwich.
I mean, look, if they remake it, I'm gonna play it.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they should be talking about any remakes until we get MGS4 off of the damn PS3.
And the licensing back for 2 and 3.
And I don't even like that game. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I do think ports right now need to be the focus. Just like get what we've got out there, figure this fucking footage thing out, and just sort it all out first, and then if y'all want to make a new thing, whatever.
It's okay. I think we talked about this in a previous episode, but you know that the new PlayStation Plus tiers that recently were launched, right? Where they have the sort of quasi, I don't even want to call it backwards compatibility, because they're just, they're giving you access to stuff you didn't have previously, which is nice. But it's very limited, right?
Yeah.
So you get this new tier, and you've got the PS1 and the PS2 stuff that they've brought onto the platform, and then you've got the PlayStation Now stuff, which is the streaming PS3 games, because those are all running on native hardware somewhere out in the ether. Before they launched these new tiers, Metal Gear Solid 4, the HD collection, and Rising were all available through PlayStation Now, which is not a great option, because game streaming sucks. I don't care how good of a connection you have. That lag is always going to be there. It's never going to feel right. I'm sorry, it's not. I'm going to put my foot down on that.
I get that.
But they were at least there. And then shortly before they launched these new tiers, they took all 3 of them down.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So they're completely inaccessible now.
They also took away, I'm pretty sure of this. I'm pretty sure of this because I've validated it rather with support forums from other folks complaining, but they took out Silent Hill from the PSN store now.
Oh my gosh, they took out that too?
Bro, I've been talking about it
I do remember you saying
periodically.
that in Discord, yeah.
Oh,
what the fuck?
It's kind of weird though. They seem to be doing these takedowns of old versions right before something else comes out. Like they did it with Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, that's just wishful thinking, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, they did it with what else did they do it with? Oh, the Final Fantasy games. Before the Pixel remaster came out, they took I think they just renamed that a separate thing. So you could download that 3D version. But it's when these things change up in the store, sometimes they're lining it up for something new.
Right.
And they want you to buy the new
GTA
one.
collection.
Yeah. Yeah. The GTK, which that had its own problems, which that's what they need to leave the fucking, the originals up. If you want to do a definitive collection where it's got these HD things. We just saw it this past week with what happened with the Resident Evil and the ray tracing stuff this week?
So I can speak to personal experience from this. So Capcom was pretty fast on it breaking out or rolling out that update, that next gen console update. I can't speak for the experience on console, but for PC, the first thing I noticed immediately was my graphics settings. I don't know if the game benchmarked them or not, but my graphics settings were the requirements were jacked up. It was requiring it went from being manageable under by being able to be manageable under my 8 gigabyte card to I check my settings and it's oh, this configuration requires 13 gigs of VRAM. I'm like, the fuck? And then, for my PC, I could see a few little details here and there, but it didn't necessarily feel worth the effort or, any sort of I didn't feel like the opportunity cost was there for the upgrade, especially how, I had to reconfigure everything. So.
And it broke mods too, right?
I was just about to get to that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, whatever. I go to try to roll it back, or not roll it back, but just disable it or anything. And I'm not seeing any shit about how to disable it. Then I go on support forums like the RE subreddit and Capcom forums and stuff like that. And that's where I discover not only is it, such a resource hog now, but it broke mods. It no longer supported DirectX 11. So if you had an older card or were on Windows 7, you're SOL. and just a slew of other things that happened. But since then, they have put in a workaround to roll back your update. But man, yeah, it kind of speaks to y'all's point, right?
Yep.
This sucks.
Make it optional to get this new shit. Leave the old versions for people that have older hardware up for sure.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, you can still download it if you've already bought the old versions, right? But it's...
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all of this, we've had long conversations about preservation and just all of this, but all I can think is, wow, y'all are making emulation look better and better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I was experimenting the other day with RPCS3 and the MGS HD collection, just to see how well it could perform, and partially because I wanted to see if I could mod some of it. But it's crazy how how many strides are being made in just sort of the realm of emulation, like PCSX2 and RPCS3, which are the PS2 and PS3 emulators. I mean, they're just getting better and better by the day, and these guys are essentially doing it just because they love it.
Yeah.
The people working on it are not doing it because they're being paid to, although they typically have like Patreon or donation links as well, but they'd be doing it regardless.
I bet like the removal from the stores and everything really kind of, lit a fire under their ass too, with like, all right, time to get to work on this shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been wondering for a while, like, I know Sony would never do it, but it would be really cool if like Sony would release a like official Sony emulators, and like make it a subscription service where you can like pop in the disc for any game you've got and it'll just emulate it. Like, give it official support. And I realize there's so many legal and logistical problems with this, but...
And here's the biggest problem with it. It's not quite as profitable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I will give Sony this. I was very happy to find out that the PS1 and PS2 games that I had previously purchased on my PS3, when they launched these new tiers, I was able to download those games without signing up for the new service. So that was nice. But I mean, clearly they have shown that they've got an operational, reliable emulator that will play these games on PS4 and 5. So just like, let me pop in my fucking discs.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing?
I think an official emulator has one gigantic pro that I think we're all thinking right now that would change Sony, like the future of Sony forever. And that means we'd have Gex on PS5, baby.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Gex is coming back.
Did you see that animation that was like if Gex was a 90s cartoon? That was incredible.
My God.
Yes.
I was having lunch like 2 days ago and I was just thinking about Gex. I was like, man, Gex is coming back. I can feel it. Because of that One Ace Bomber Guy video. And my buddy Jet, shout out to Turbo Jet, he makes those funny Sonic videos. He was like, oh, is it because of this? And he showed me, and I was like, oh my God.
God, what would a modern Gex even look like? Like, what would the movie reference, what would the references even be at that point? Like, it would just be a bunch of...
Annihilation.
There would be an Avengers level, an Annihilation level.
Do you think it would be like modern movies, or would it be like everything? Like, he'd be quoting internet memes,
yeah, TikTok
and
dances,
and
yeah.
Right. Yeah, he'd be doing the Fortnite dance. Do we really want a new Gex?
I want a new Gex.
I never not wanted a new Gex. So Gex is actually funny. Y'all should bring up Gex. Gex has also been like one of my main like subjects for my dollies. So it's like Gex at MagFest, Gex in Eorzea, Gex on VeggieTales.
This is the best show ever. I'm so happy you brought up Gex. It's a sentence.
You brought up Gex.
You brought up Gex.
No, just that sentence reassures me to no end.
Well.
Yeah, that Dolly Mini thing was pretty fun. Got some good ones out of there.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've been making like, I think between that and the text generating AI, it's crazy how I have a really hard time believing there's not a person behind the scenes just like rapidly typing shit out, you know?
Yeah.
It's so clever. Like I asked it the other day what the plot of okay, so and presuming you've been living under a rock and haven't heard about this, there is a rumor that Kojima is working on a game called Overdose. Now, this rumor was sort of being spread alongside the claim that Kojima was doing work with Microsoft on a cloud-based game, and that ended up being very true. But there's been no confirmation that the game is going to be called Overdose or that it's going to star what I believe her name is Margaret Qualley. Is that her name?
Margaret Qualley, yeah.
Yeah. And it was going to be a survival horror game. So you had these two concurrent rumors, and like half of it came true, but that's not necessarily confirmation that the other half is true. But there's been all sorts of like leaked images and videos, and like it's really hard to tell what's true and what's not. And I kind of think it might be true, but you know, who can say for sure?
That'd be sick.
Yeah. And so I plugged in the I went to this like AI sort of like text generative thing and plugged in the you know, like what is the plot of Overdose, and it gave me this really convincingly realistic answer. So I fed it the prompt that Overdose is a new survival horror video game created by Hideo Kojima in conjunction with Xbox. And it gave me this really convincing explanation that was, or this like it auto-filled the rest and was like, it's a spiritual successor to the classic survival horror game Silent Hill. The game is set in Los Angeles, and the world's been overrun by a virus, and players take control of a young woman named Mia who's infected and must find a way to survive. It's a first-person survival horror game. It uses Unreal Engine. It's set up like a TV show with each episode having its own title card. Like I'm reading this and I'm like, this sounds like a real, like a real thing.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
It's like what Rocco did with Metal Gear Solid 5, except that instead of it being like a dream or wait, no. Actually, he tweeted that he had a dream that predicted Better Call Saul, and I'm like, bro, you did that with Metal Gear Solid 5. Don't do that. Yeah, it's like that.
These AI things are scary. I mean, one of these days we may have to have a conversation on AI and like consciousness and physicalism versus dualism and all that crap, because I'll go on for ages, but it's scary how good these algorithms have gotten at sort of coming up with things that sound convincingly real and human, and just like I fed it the question like, give me the plot for Police Knots 2, and it was like Jonathan Ingram and Ed Brown must go out and like solve a mystery where cops are being killed across the solar system amidst a conspiracy. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that DALL-E thing's pretty impressive too. Put like Metal Gear Rex in space, and it was just this fucking Metal Gear Rex in space. Put Hideo Kojima on weed, and looked like a stoned Hideo Kojima. It was pretty good.
God, what was the other thing? Like Steve Urkel in Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah.
Solid Snake and VeggieTales.
I like the one at Sesame Street. That one's pretty good too.
I saw the Sesame Street one, yeah. IGN did Danny DeVito in Metal Gear.
I've gotten like a million DMs and tags like, hey Wes, look at this, and it's like Dahlia Raiden goes to Taco Bell or something like that. Okay, cool, thanks man.
Yeah, speaking about Kojima the other day, just popping up at the end. What was that, at the Xbox conference?
Yeah. Was that technically a part of the Summer Games Fest? I'm so confused nowadays that like
this whole not E3 season has just been kind of like just a barrage of press conferences, and I don't know. I guess I'm okay with it, but I would like to go back to E3 again someday. That'd be fun.
I learned that the console wars are apparently still a thing.
Yeah,
to chuds.
Because Sony fans got real mad about that.
Big mad.
Wait, why? What?
After the Kojima announcement?
Because Kojima's working on Xbox.
Yeah, he basically came out just saying he's going to make a game for Xbox, and all these, PlayStation fans just made a fucking petition. It's just like, true fans know that Metal Gear started on the MSX, so
Exactly, which was a partially a Microsoft project.
I'm that picture of the guy where it's like he's next to those two cakes. It's like, oh man, that guy's cake's better than my cake. And it's like, oh shit, 2 cakes. It's like, oh cool, 2 Kojima games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, my thought wasn't, oh damn, it's on the Xbox. My thought was, oh damn, I gotta get an Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thought was, and this kind of goes back to your initial point, back to the Sony services, is I'm sure just by the way they described it, it sounds like a project with Kojima that takes advantage of cloud gaming, but in a sort of creative capacity. So I'm very intrigued to see sort of what he accomplishes, assuming this is his case. But at the same time, like Nitroid said, and like Wes's phone, the technology is just kind of janky.
Yeah, and it sucks too because we're like, hey, Kojima, can you elaborate on that? And he was like, no.
I trust him.
Yeah, that's the thing. We'll see what he's up to.
Wasn't there that report a while back about Kojima working on a game for Stadia? Like, I have no idea if that was actually true or not, but assuming it was, and assuming that, you know, given the fact that Stadia isn't really a thing now,
Fucking moron.
There was
I mean, if they throw a big bag of money at you,
I guess.
there was an article the other day I read where the Quarry, that new Supermassive game,
Mhm.
that was originally supposed to be a Stadia title, and I'm like, holy shit! They fucking
That's-
dodged a bullet there.
It's fucked up.
I think 2K was like, oh hell no, but yeah.
This makes me just think of like all the Quibi shows that just like never even made it. It's just like,
Oh, yeah.
That was awful.
I can't help but think back to this comment Kojima made, and I wish I could find it. Sure, if I dug around for like, you know, 6 hours, I could probably find it. But Kojima was talking about wanting to do something that, I can't remember if he mentioned cloud services specifically, but he was talking about a game that sort of dealt with the dynamic between streamers and people watching a stream.
Yeah, I think that was around like when Black Mirror was coming out. He was
Yeah.
talking about that.
And so, like, that sort of, I wonder if maybe that's where this is going, if that's what this is. Because when he's talking about cloud services, I mean, the cloud is just a fancy word for someone else's computer, right? So, like,
Yeah.
like, what all can you do other than, okay, you're storing data remotely. So, like, how does that influence gameplay? And I can't think of how that might do it unless it's related to, like, streaming.
Yeah. Well, they have like like think about like Adam Online, how he's got that like the chat interaction things, like where people are
Yeah.
typing stuff. Like maybe it's something on that end where like you can play the game as a streamer or, you know,
That would
as
be
a
cool.
viewer and be doing commands that mess up the gameplay of the player.
Right.
I just saw they have that Sniper Elite 5 game where like you can basically just hop in as one of the enemies and act as like an enemy sniper. And, you know, so it's an option that you can turn on or off, but, you know, you can be invaded by kind of a real life player. Now you're dealing with another person trying to snipe you. So it just really kicks it up.
An example I was thinking of is I know some games also had Easter eggs if they detected that you were streaming. One example that I think of in my mind is Doki Doki Literature Club. Not gonna spoil it, but
I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
if you stream, you're gonna get a little bit extra than you if you didn't stream. So
God.
who knows? Maybe, you know, it'll be like that, but to a larger extent.
Yeah, in a horror setting, you could do a lot with that.
If Kojima's making a game with like streaming playing like a big play into it, we like 3 or 4 years, however long it takes to make this thing, however many years down the line, we are gonna be in for the best Germa stream ever. He is gonna go through Metal Gear Solid 2 in real time, and 100,000 people are gonna witness it.
Oh my god. I mean, it could be really good, yeah.
I mean, it could suck, and even if it does, then it'll at least be funny.
Yep.
I don't know. That game that's coming out on Xbox will probably be on Game Pass anyway, and PC people will be able to play it, and it'll be fine.
Some people pay $25 to see The Rock on Cameo advertise his his energy drink. That is insane to me.
Yeah, people at the Summer Game Fest, man, what are y'all doing? Paying $25 to go watch ads for? I mean, was there anything worth seeing in that on that big of
No.
a screen? I mean,
No.
If you don't follow me on Twitter, I just want you to know that Jeff Keighley's parents are executives at IMAX.
yeah,
Oh no.
it all just
So-
felt so dirty. Like that's something you pay for people to go to. Like, you know, it's like or it'd be free and like you hand out swag for Summer Game Fest and it'd be like this promotion for the event. Like don't charge people $25 to watch game trailers. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They need to take a book from the PlayStation events. Like, I actually went to some of those, and those were not only free, but they gave you a bunch of free stuff when you went.
Ooh.
Like $10 voucher for PSN and like some other like game related merchandise, and like that was fun. And there was like not an empty seat in the house every time I went. But I went looking on Twitter to see if I could find photos of people who went to the IMAX showings for Jeff's event. And I kid you, like, look this up yourself. Like, do hashtag summer game whatever, and you know, sort by latest and look at the photos, and just
They're
scroll
all
through
empty.
and look at every single theater. It was like 90% empty. It was hilarious.
Oh God. That wasn't out of like, oh, poor Jeff. That was like, oh, poor Jeff.
No, do not. Nepotism, don't.
I know it's secondhand embarrassment. It's like, oh Jesus. Oh, you poor rich bastard.
It's tough too, because like part of me is like, okay, well, you know, this does allow developers to designate, you know, any necessary resources to you know, doing what they do best. And they don't have to sort of you know, learn communications in a few days and have these awkward speeches. But at the same time, you know, there was sometimes, you know, we do spend a little resources just to make, you know, have those events, have those promotions. So it definitely does feel like there's something missing with these.
It's not the same without E3. I do admit that I kind of miss it, and
Yeah.
that's partially because
I get
you know,
that.
Fingers can attest to this. Like, we've both been to E3,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a hell of a thing. And it feels much less cynical when you go because it is an industry event and it's not a giant advertisement,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, like I've been to a lot of different other conventions as well, and it's like E3 is probably like the best, like, or you know, one of the best conventions I've been to, just because they've just got a lot of cool shit there that you can like get pictures with, and like a lot of just cool displays and free, you know, they're handing out stuff, and I don't know, it's cool. You get to like just walk around and see a bunch of, you know, cool stuff before it comes out, and it's not the same as just watching the trailers and be like, oh, neat, like.
Yeah, because there is that advertising element to it, but it's also like an industry trade event, so there's a lot of developers there and executives, and it's not just about them, you know, shilling what it is they're making to the audience. So like, the 2 years I went, I got to try all sorts of just crazy things behind the scenes that I just couldn't have ever have imagined doing otherwise, and like I got to try PSVR and Resident Evil 7 before they were called PSVR and Resident Evil 7. Like, it was called Morpheus and the demo and like the kitchen demo, and like for MGSV they had this whole big setup that was built like Mother Base, and you would actually like go in through one of the doors and they'd have like a private playtest area there, and like it was crazy the kind of work they would go through.
Yeah, I got to play fucking Mutant League football. Like they had the new one out, Mutant Football League. But yeah, I like met the guy that made that game. That's like one of my favorite Genesis sports games. Like, I don't know, it's a cool event.
And that's where I met Mr. Kojima was at my first time at E3. Was during, I think it was like the second year they were showing off MGS4. I can't remember what year it was, but it was that first trailer where Raiden and Vamp showed up.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I got to meet him, and he was super nice. And then afterwards, I got to go back into the Konami offices, and I played a beta of Portable Ops with Noriaki Okamura.
Oh my god.
And like I can't believe I'm saying this because it sounds made up, but like I've got photos of it. Like that's Like it's just a crazy experience. But you gotta understand. Like again, this is a trade event, so like they're not there as these celebrities that we sort of envision them as. They're there as professionals who are trying to, put their
Sell.
product out there and communicate
Yeah.
with other developers. Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
like they're just guys doing their thing. Like it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, and that's like the guys at like Konami that we've interacted with and stuff, they've been awesome to us. Like,
Yeah.
when I was in California for the E3 thing, like they just invited me down to come like check out headquarters and walk around and, got pictures with that like naked snake statue and the old snake guy and just saw this like old memorabilia. And it's just, I don't know. So they're all cool guys over there.
You guys are nuts. How the fuck are you doing this shit?
Very lucky.
Metal Gear. Yeah. A little bit of luck, a little bit of Metal Gear.
So far, I've had one awkward call with David Hayter, and
Nice.
I asked Christopher Randolph if Otacon would listen to Steely Dan, and he said yeah. And I was like, cool.
Two guys we are desperately trying to get on the show.
Oh, dude.
Everybody tweet at him. Check out Kojima Frequency.
Seriously. It's gonna happen.
One of these days, get Cam Clark on here. That'd be fun.
Oh, man.
Oh, he just seems like so much fun.
Who voices Leo in Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
which They also came back for Shredder's Revenge and revoiced everything. Which that game is a 10 out of 10. I mean, you got Wu-Tang playing during the Shredder fight in the end. I mean, it was fucking
Oh my
amazing.
God.
Me and
Yeah.
Nitroid ran through it the other night and we're smiling throughout. It was great.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
It's crazy what like hearing nostalgic voices in those characters can do. Just I haven't heard
Oh my
those
God.
like redone in a long time. So they got all of the cast for the Turtles to come back.
I miss Uncle Phil.
Yeah, that Shredder they got wasn't hitting.
I don't have a lot of history with Ninja Turtles. I played Shredder's Revenge. Adored it. I played it like 3 times with my friends.
Nice.
Oh wow.
And while I don't have a history with Turtles, I am just so into voiceover and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh, that's Robert Paulson. I know that. Who the fuck is
Yeah.
Leonardo? I was like, Cam Clark.
Yeah. It's weird too when you go back to watch, if you watch some of like the original cartoons, you can like slightly hear like liquid bleeding in. There's that little bit of crossover. You're like, wait a minute, what's that? Like, I never really caught it as a kid, but
Cowabunga. Just like a shitty,
yeah.
not cool, bro.
I couldn't imagine. I just was shocked by how well they captured the feel of the gameplay.
Yeah. It's like Turtles in Time Plus. Like, it's just a little bit better in my opinion.
I'm always gonna. My favorite's always gonna be the original arcade game, but man, they really nailed this.
Yeah.
It was just a blast from beginning to end.
Shout out T Lopes and Mega Ran on the soundtrack. Just the whole thing was just 10 out of 10. I mean, controls, gameplay, music, all of it.
Shout out the anthropomorphic rats
Yeah.
and the Wu-Tang Clan
And the Wu-Tang Clan.
Right? Like
and Rob Paulson.
Wu-Tang Clan forever.
I still can't believe they did that battle theme.
I have a friend who's really into Wu-Tang, and I was like, yeah, they got Wu-Tang for the game, and he was like, all right. And when we played 30, he was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah, I think it's Ghostface Killer and Raekwon.
Yeah. Ghostface, what's the other? No, I think that's it. I'm not super into him, but I'm aware of Mr. Killa.
I mean, just the fact that they even did it is kind of insane to even conceive of. And I mean, it completely fits too, because if you remember the old live action movies, they always had these like rap tracks associated with them.
Mhm.
So it fit the mood perfectly.
Mhm.
We've come a long way from Go Ninja Go.
Oh my gosh.
God. Even I know that one.
Yeah, I love testing out your knowledge as a Zoomer. The fact that you knew about Gex, that was
I know some
surprising.
stuff. I'll be real, a bulk of it I just pick up from older people. Like, oh my goodness. It feels weird to call him this. My friend Gianni, who makes all those really great Duke Nukem videos, who is in Ultra Kill, really sweet guy. He gifted me, which is ironic because I can't even do anything with it because my computer is barely a computer. He gifted me a collection of boomer shooters, he was like, "Hey, figured you'd want to try this out because I already own these things and I bought them for like a charity thing. Check them out, dude." I was like, "Sure, no problem." And I was like, "Man, I don't know shit about this." Because I only know Duke Nukem as the funny online guy, and I know I played like 10 minutes of Duke Nukem Forever back when it first came out. I really shouldn't have. And I've played the new Dooms, the new Wolfensteins, but like, no, I don't know shit about that kind of game genre.
Classic Doom, classic Wolfenstein, and
Yeah.
all that type stuff. Yeah. It's just like old Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. It's just a different generation of video games.
I feel so fake for saying this. I tried to play them when I was younger because I think the collection came with them, right?
Yeah.
It came with, yeah.
Yeah, on Snake
I
Eater.
tried to, and it just could not grip me.
They're definitely tough games. Like, you have to pretty
Mhm.
much use a walkthrough to figure out what the fuck's going on. But even then, just like the moment-to-moment gameplay can be really punishing.
Mm-hmm. Nah, but huge cutoff. I watched some 90s cartoons. I know Rob Paulson because of Animaniacs and stuff like that. But like, yeah, TMNT I know next to nothing about, aside from I learned that Casey Jones is like the coolest character in fiction. I know that now.
Rob Paulson actually did the voice for Gray Fox and Twin Snakes.
Yeah. I didn't know that until like maybe like a year or so ago, and I lost my mind because he's like one of my favorites.
I don't like the way he said respite. I know it's proper, but that's like a gift
Yeah.
situation.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same bite.
I need that. Like, come on.
I mean, again, another conversation for another day, but there's a lot of things you could say about Twin Snakes and the performances and the script changes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Twin Snakes. I really don't like Twin Snakes,
It's
which is ironic, but I don't like Twin Snakes.
that's kind of that's kind of the consensus.
I can appreciate it for what it is. Like, you know, I don't hate it. Like, I'll play through it every once in a while. I actually put it on my Wii recently, but I don't know. It's definitely no replacement for the original, but I can see it as its own little thing.
It's the rare exception to what John Ford said, which was that when you have to choose between the truth and the legend, print the legend. And in this case, maybe not.
I had a few people get really mad at me about a month ago because there was another rumor about an MGS1 remake, and I didn't even say anything like dismissive about it. I was talking about how much I like Metal Gear Solid 1, like base Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, my favorite thing about 1 is that just because of the time period, you have these characters that look like, it was because of the phrasing, but like Kojima has like stated that this is how he did it. I said that the characters looked like goofy Lego people. And they were, and I love 1 because these goofy Lego looking people are saying these like really intricate, like endearing things about love and war and stuff like that.
With just like head nods. Yeah.
Yeah. And Twin Snakes feels weird to me because, you know, they have like, Snake has eyes. And it's really weird.
That's how I feel about seeing 2D sprites in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
I look at 2D sprites like they look like Chicken McNuggets to me. So to see it in like 3D.
3D nuggets, yeah.
And I had people get mad at me because they were like, oh, well, she fucking hates how MGS1 looks. It's like, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know where they missed that because your logic seems incredibly sound, especially the Lego part.
Because that's how he built the stages using Legos. I'm correct. Why are you booing me? I'm right.
I would play Lego Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Wasn't Kojima's avatar like a Lego Kojima for like a good year?
Yes!
Yeah.
It was!
Shit.
I'm going to be thinking about this for a bit.
Nitro, did you want to talk about this shedding translation?
Shedding?
She said shedding?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I know that was another thing that sort of happened recently.
We got it from it's a Kojima archivist. He goes by @Nils Pomeranke on Twitter. Yeah, the tweet says, for the first time ever, a translation of MGS3, The Shedding, 192 pages. Special thanks at Neverman for all the support and at Archound for corrections on pages 133 through 180.
Yeah.
Then there's an archive.org link.
And Archound is a legend in Metal Gear fan circles.
Oh, yeah.
He's got
Oh.
a website that's just tons of translations of materials of things, and just like he's been around for ages. I mean, I remember like the very first Metal Gear fan community I joined, like way back, like late 90s, right? He was there. So like he's been around forever. And so yeah, there's this translation of what is like 190 plus page book that was included with this thing called the Metal Gear Solid 3 Extreme Box, and it's for lack of a better way to describe it, it's the closest that we ever got to a document of MGS3.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so it's I'm going a little bit from memory here. It never came out in the U.S., but it's a collection of 4 DVDs and a book, and it's got a little like Kubrick looking, which is like a sort of a larger Lego of Naked Snake, and the 4 DVDs have all sorts of material on them. Like it's got a walkthrough on how to get Foxhound in MGS3.
Yeah, we were watching some of that the other night. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got like strategy guides.
It looks so rudimentary compared to the shit you see nowadays. Like,
right?
Apache, I hope he feels better soon, but as soon as he gets back on the mend, we're showing him this video and seeing how, like, it probably looks to him like 5th grade math. You know? Like...
Exactly, yeah. Like, speedrunners have completely broken that game beyond anything they could have ever predicted. But
there's some dev, like, you can roll over the alligators, or like the crocodile guys, like, yeah.
Right. The coolest thing it's got on it, though, out of these 4 DVDs is that it's got all, essentially it goes through the cutscenes of the games, but there's a commentary by Kojima through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, again, it's in Japanese, so unless you understand it, you don't know what he's saying. But the fact that there's even a director's commentary for the game is kind of amazing. But then there was also this book that came with it, and that's what they have translated. And the book has just all sorts of stuff. So it's got like behind the scenes stuff. It's got like a little mini biography of Kojima. It's got an interview with like Akio Atsuka, who's the voice of Snake. It's got it's even got like actual Snake recipes that you could cook, because I guess they talk to a restaurant that serves Snake based dishes, and so like it's really cool. Go, like, we'll put a link to it on our Twitter feed and on our YouTube channel so that people can check it out.
Yeah,
it's extremely cool. But yeah, there's all this information in it that's just remarkable. I haven't even had a chance to go through it all yet, so it's just tons of stuff that you wouldn't have learned otherwise.
Oh, it's just out now? Like, it's like fully translated? Oh wow.
Yeah,
damn.
Not the DVDs, just the book. So the DVDs are something I've wanted to actually get translated at some point. I'm just not sure how to do it. So if anyone out there is fluent and wants to work with me on a project to get Kojima's MGS3 commentary translated and subtitled in English, hit me up and let's get that done. Because I sure can't do it. There are no. It's frustrating because like I could do some sort of like rough approximation of a translation if there was a subtitle file with it. Unfortunately,
yeah, but it's all just audio.
It's all just audio, and the only subtitles in the video are subtitles for the game audio. And Kojima talks over it, so it would have to be transcribed first, which is obviously out of my skill set. But the book alone has tons of stuff.
You could put it on YouTube and then let YouTube transcribe it.
It's already up there, but the transcription isn't great.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's kind of nonsensical. So it needs properly translated if there's going to be anything done with it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I'd recommend if you like that sort of behind the scenes stuff, if you like production notes, behind the scenes, all that, check it out.
I'll take a look. See, I'll take a gander.
Got anything in the works you can't talk about?
Here's some. Oh, yeah. Well, you beat me to it.
Yeah.
It feels so weird to call it this. I think in about 10 days or so from now, Boo Womp will have been out for only a year.
Whoa.
And it doesn't feel like a year. And in that year, the stuff that I can talk about that like I'm looking forward to, I am legally bound to not talk about it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got some NDAs going. That's what's up.
Let me just say, you Gex fans are going to be real. No, they won't.
Don't do that to us.
I've made that joke countless times. Just like, oh, what do you got in store? I'll just make up some shit like, oh, fucking, you Klonoa fans are going to have some real news coming in this, even though that's actually real now. Rayman, I don't know. No, I mean,
Air Guys 2.
Balloon Kid's coming back. No, it doesn't. Can I do like a special thanks kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. If you want to shout out some people? Go for it.
Yeah.
This is your moment.
Oh, Jesus. First, I want to say that it is buck wild to be talking to you two. I don't know much about Days. I feel so fucking awful.
And that's work. That's a feature, not a bug. But
I just want to say I fucking ate Tom Olsen up last year.
Yes!
That was incredible.
Yes! I'm so happy
just
right now.
Oh, here, I got a perfect time. I got my cat out. Hold on. Come on, bud. Come on. The show's almost over.
Big girl. My while you're getting her, my fun story. My parents got a second cat, but they're both like tabby gingers.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been starting to call them like solid and liquid cats because they're starting to like fight over. Funny enough, they're starting to fight over their father's approval, and dominate different parts of the house. And yeah, it's crazy. There was one shot, I need to find the picture of it, where one of the cats is under the rug and he's like looking up at the other cat who's sort of looking down. And I swear to God, that shit was posed exactly like the ending of MGS1 when they're under the Jeep.
Oh.
I need to find the picture, but
I adored Tom Olsen to no end. And with the news cycle too. That was crazy how that just kind of worked out, and not in the favor, obviously, but the fact that you basically did the ending of MGS2, but with your dedication to MGS2, with the whole like, oh, fucking information will just kind of, there'll be a fuck ton. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. The kernel doesn't say, well, there's going to be a fuck ton of information, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was terrified the whole time.
Cool. You get me. I remember this one is super, it feels like so long ago. When I was in high school, around when Ground Zeroes first came out, I was on the bus with my friend Diego, and we were listening to your cause, was it? The
fiddle remix?
The bitch remix.
Yeah. Oh, man. That's awesome. That's my legacy. I think that's how me and Days met back in the day, like on Tumblr.
Aww.
I was playing a live show in the same state, and she was like, oh yeah, you're that guy that made the fiddle remix.
Oh, no, Shaine too. I have to thank her because of her, I still have no idea what anyone sees in my work. Because of her interest in my work, I was able to record for PSX because she got me like an actual mic. Bloodborne card coming soon. I don't know when it comes out. I'm just on the thing.
Yeah, shout out Shaine. We love Shaine here.
Oh yeah, Shaine's awesome. I guess Apache. I guess he's like,
we miss you.
Feel better.
Yeah, feel better soon, buddy. He had an excellent adventure over here in America. Rode a bunch of roller coasters and had a good old time. We'll talk about that soon, probably.
Aw. I like called him on the phone because he put his phone number on Twitter.
His American burner.
Please do not call me on this number.
Yeah,
I still
was like,
can't
"Fuck
believe
it."
he did that. I should have called it. I should still call it. I'll probably wait until he's a little bit better.
Basically anyone in the Metal Gear community, really, because it feels I was such a fan of everything for such a long time that to be
Yeah.
considered a part of it doesn't really feel legit, I guess. Maxor, I guess, for MGR being exploding. My friends on Discord from all those years ago. I say all those when it's like 2 or 3 years ago. Gianni Montegrano, my friend Solid JJ, who will be mad at me for saying his name because he's a very sweet guy. He's so blunt.
Well, Wes, it's been a lot of fun. If you want to plug where people can find your stuff online, all the links and stuff, if you want to go ahead with that, you can.
Oh goodness. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter and nowhere else as of right now at funnywes. No spaces, all lowercase. Funny is subjective, but that's fine. I've made some stinkers.
I only think you're hilarious. Yeah, thanks again for coming on the show. We had a blast.
Thank you for having me. Well, earlier this week I had the issue with my files, my audios, and all that stuff like that, plural. But hopefully this time around it should be